Hello, welcome to my little tutorial on underpainting for the costume history class. Now, you're probably wondering, what do I mean by underpainting? Well, the idea is to add shading and shadow to a costume sketch to give it a three-dimensional look. And the idea is the shadow is painted first on the form, and then you would put the colors on top and the shade would come through, hence the term underpainting. So I'm going to show you some techniques about how to underpaint. It's really quite simple, but first we need to show you some of the materials you will need. First of all, let me move this out of the way. You are required to have Bristol paper, which this is. You can hear has a snap to it. It's a very good quality paper for taking inks and watercolors, and we will be drawing and painting on that. Obviously, you also need paint. Now, if you're doing this from home, a nice watercolor set is just fine. We use Dr. P.H. Martin's Hydrus Fine Art Watercolor. We have plenty of it here at the school. If you want to use the studio, which has plenty of space for social distancing, you're certainly more than welcome to the materials there. The type of color you want, obviously, is dark for your shading. Black is fine. A lot of people use that. Also, dark brown is good. This color here is Payne's Gray, P-A-Y-N-E''S gray. It's sort of a blue, blue-black. Here, I can show you a sample. Hopefully this will show up on screen. You can see that sort of blue-black quality. It's good for shadowing. It has a nice pop to it. So we will be using that. But again, anything you have at home is fine. Obviously, you need brushes. The best brushes for doing shading and detail are round brushes. You can see here we have a series going from large to small, from a 12 down to an 001, I believe. Doesn't really matter what the numbers are. You want a big, kind of medium, smaller, and a smallest. Those are your brushes. You also may want to have some ink, which I don't have here, which I'll have in the next segment. A pen or something, a fountain pen or a felt tip pen. That's very fine for doing outlining. Also, of course, you need some kind of palette. Anything will do. You got a dish at home. Actually, old CDs, if you have those make excellent palettes, and they last a good long time. I have this container over here to the side with water, and sorry, I went out of the screen for a second, and so a paper towel just to dab on. Also, besides your Bristol, you will need a scrap. I would recommend a scrap piece of Bristol or something to mark on. You will see why that's very important as we go through. Okay, those are the materials. So what we're going to do next is transfer the sketch to the Bristol paper. As my example here, I'm using something from a previous design class. This is a sketch of Miranda from The Tempest. This will work just fine. Now you see it here, I have it just on regular paper. I drew in a sketch pad and I copied it out. So I need to get it to the Bristol paper. There's three ways to do that. One is to just draw it on the Bristol paper in the first place. That's probably the simplest. But sometimes you might want to draw in a sketchbook and then transfer it to the Bristol. So draw it on the Bristol. Excellent. Works good. Another method is you can scan it in and run Bristol paper through a printer to make a copy. That's quite okay. My printer will do that quite nicely. If you need me to do that, that's what I've done here. So I can have, if I screw up, I can just start all over again. Now, the third homegrown method, which works just fine, is the use of a pencil and the back of this. So what I'm going to do is turn this over and scrape on the side of a pencil, very dark. Do a little bit. And the idea is that you probably know what I'm getting at right at this point. You can go and press in and retrace your sketch. You can see I'm doing it pretty darn hard. And if life is good, look at that. Can you guys see that? If I get closer, you can. We start to see it pick up the form. So there we are. I'm going to go ahead and get this ready. This is done, and because this is the method we're going to use. And the next step will be to do the shading. All right, into part 1.